own choices and make friends with everyone here. You allowed me to laugh and cry if I needed to express it. You showed me it's okay to care for yourself. Inuyasha, I too am happy and proud that you are my mate, and happy to live here with you and our friends forever. I love you so much, Kagome proclaimed as she and Inuyasha pulled each other close to share a loving embrace and kiss. So, should we tell them we heard everything and were standing right outside the door? Shippo questioned as he, Sesshomaru, Rin, Kohaku, Sango, Kilala, Kororo, Moroku, Myoga, Bunza, Totosai, his bull, Asagi, Shion, Mogi, I, Roku, and Dai stood quietly outside of the dog god's chambers. And risk Inuyasha finding out? No way, Bunza whispered as he snickered, making everyone else give him an amused smile. 7 years later, the dog god was pacing around like a madman just outside of his wife's room, where she was giving birth to their first child. Throughout the past 7 years, Sango and Moroku had gotten married within the next 9 months and had twin girls. Kinu, who had spiritual powers like her father, the younger twin Gyokoto, who had no powers whatsoever, but was very gentle and kind. Around the same time, Sango and Moroku had their twins. Kilala gave birth to her and Kororo's 3 little Neko kittens, who would remain young for quite a few decades, since they were demons. Kohaku became a general of the dog god's army in Sango's place after his twin nieces were born, and had gained a younger brother half a year after they themselves turned 2. Sango and Moroku's son was named Hizui. And as of recently, he had shown a talent in the art of demon slaying, training which he took with his 2 older sisters. Shippo hadn't changed much over the years. He was still the troublemaking chef he had always been, but he also was currently seeing a thunder demon girl his age named Soten, which Bunda loved to tease him about. Myoga was still the same coward, but he was also the one who watched over the village above and reported every day for signs of trouble. Asagi and the other half-demon children still lived within the underground castle, as well, but were also demon slayers in Inuyasha's army, very strong demon slayers at that, but they were all still good-hearted. Totosai and his bull were still around too, currently working on a special sword for the dog god's firstborn child in his area of the castle. Inuyasha, if you keep pacing, you are going to wake up Toa and then Setsuna, Sesshomaru said firmly as he sat on the other side of the wall from the door of the bedroom Inuyasha was pacing in front of, with his sleeping 1-month-old twin daughters in his arms. One with white hair was Toa, who was Sesshomaru and Rin's firstborn, and then in Sesshomaru's other arm was Toa's younger twin sister, Setsuna. The twins, even though they were only a few weeks old, showed that they loved each other in the most amazing way any sisters could. If one was separated from the other, both would immediately start to cry loudly until they were back together. Easy for you to say. Your wife isn't the one currently in pain. Mine is, Inuyasha stated as he continued to pace. Moroku shook his head as he held a sleeping Hizui, who was currently 4 years old, in his arms, while Kinu and Gyokoto were asleep at his side, with Kororo and the 3 Neko kittens in their lap. Inuyasha, we know you're worried about Kagome, but please show some courage. Sango, Rin, and Asagi and Kilala are helping her with this, so you have nothing to worry about, the monk said wisely. Suddenly, the sliding door of the bedroom opened, and Rin came out. "It's a girl!" she exclaimed as she let Inuyasha in to the most incredible sight imaginable. His wife Kagome was lying against Kilala in her large form with a red bundle in her arms. "We'll give you two some privacy," Asagi said as she and Rin left the room. "Yes, let's go, Kilala," Sango stated as Kilala slowly laid Kagome down and left the room with Sango, who closed the sliding door. Now Inuyasha was left with his wife and their daughter alone, for the first time. "Kagome," the dog god stuttered as his wife looked up at him and smiled weakly. "Darling, come see your daughter," his wife said softly. He walked over quietly and sat next to Kagome, who showed their daughter to him. Inuyasha was speechless. The little girl was a quarter demon, with Kagome's hair, ears, and eyes. She was looking up at her parents with a look of wonder, and she smiled and cooed. "She's beautiful," Inuyasha said after Kagome let him hold their daughter. "What should we name her?" Kagome asked as she leaned her head against her mate's shoulder. "Well, I was thinking of a name you thought of a while back. Maroha. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think?" Kagome smiled at her husband. "It's perfect. Our little Maroha. We love you, little girl." she said as she kissed the baby on the head, which Maroha herself giggled and cooed to. I never imagined I'd be so happy, Inuyasha said, tears forming in his eyes as he let little Maroha touch his face with her hands. I know it will be more happier from here on out, my love, Kagome said. I agree, Inuyasha replied. So should we go and tell Bunza and the others they can come in now? Lamiko asked. Inuyasha smiled as he wrapped his free arm around his wife, while the others still held Maroha. In a bit. I want to stay like this as long as possible, he trailed off. Kagome giggled at her husband's request. Me too. As the couple huddled close together with their daughter in their arms, they thought about all they had been through, all the hardships and sacrifices they had made. They knew in the end it was all worth it, since the two of them could be together with the rest of their family forever. I love you, Kagome, the dog god said. I love you too, Inuyasha, his bride replied.